There's Sanchez. Dirty Sanchez. Dirty Sanchez. Press on. Right. All right, Garcia. Garcia's got all the questions. This is part 2. He wants to know where I'm from.
I wanted to know if you're toasty right now.
It is a little toasty. I do have a beanie on and a 3-piece suit.
Have you ever gotten that question before?
Oh, yeah.
I get the question all the time.
Sure, I bet you do too, but that's good material for this.
It's got that cool max.
Yeah, it does. I've heard that it was actually designed for that. That's like...
I got a long sleeve under here as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I just wear double layers.
Layers are the key, even in high temperatures.
It helps you not to burn during the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I come from a family of what's known as migrant workers, and that's key trick right there.
Micro workers?
Migrants.
Oh, migrant workers.
Migrate to different parts of America to go do farm work.
Oh, you don't mean immigrate. You're talking about migrating.
Migrate, yeah.
Yeah, from one part of the country to another.
From South Texas, man.
All
Town to Northeast.
All right.
Or the Midwest, but that's the term that was coined back then.
Well, people are naturally migratory.
Man, it should be that way. Birds do it. Why not humans?
Well, we are migratory, but we have been told lots of things like settle down. Have you ever been told to settle down, Garcia?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, has anybody, if you ask them, you say, should I settle? Should I settle, Garcia?
Well, it depends, man. It depends.
Should I be down?
It depends on the situation. Like if for instance, major life-changing experience, someone can't just tell you, hey, should I settle for this? There's a lot of things that come into thought. Now, something else like, hey...
But it is settling, right? And that is kind of like, we know we're settling for less than maybe we think we deserve, but it might be all we can get, we think.
You're saying
right?
deserve.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, just the idea of settling, like it is, I mean, kind of a compromise, right? Maybe a compromise?
I mean, if you look at it as a compromise.
Like, so there's some give and some take there if you're settling?
What if you compromise, but this...
I just guessed that Garcia's sign was a Gemini. They would never say that to live in the moment, but I've narrowed it down. I know that you're one of 2 signs now, and I know what they are. I know what they are now. No, 2. I said a Leo first because you said you were something about a cat. You brought up a cat.
Yeah, but then you asked about Gemini.
That's it, though. Gemini and...
But, okay, then I told you I wasn't a Taurus.
Oh, yeah. But I know you're not a Taurus because a Taurus would never say you live in the moment.
Right,
but
right.
If you live in the moment, then I know you are now either a Libra or an Aquarius.
No, man.
Oh, my God.
No. So
okay.
The house cusp that I fall on is close to Aquarius, but it's not.
Well, then you're definitely a Pisces. Yeah, you could not possibly be a Capricorn because a Capricorn on the other side would never say live in the moment. But a Pisces will say live in the moment, but they're skittish.
They can be.
Yeah, they don't really necessarily live in the moment.
I mean, I want to, man.
Right.
And I've been called out on it. Like, if I go see a show, I'll start recording and they're like, hey, man, like, enjoy the moment right now, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, my buddies all harass me for,
But look, see how his feet are first? Yeah, see, you're leading with the feet. Pisces is the feet.
I lead with my feet and I also have foot problems, which is all.
Pisces is the foot.
Mind you, I didn't manifest any of this until my feet have been hurting forever, and then I started looking into it. I was like, gotta explain it, man. I mean, they've been doing this stuff for plenty of years. There's gotta be some truth to it, right?
There's some truth to it. I'm not talking about horoscopes, but the actual astrology that horoscopes are derived from has some truth, right? I don't necessarily know why, but...
Let me ask you a question, man. Would you put more weight on horoscopes or tarot reading?
I don't know anything about tarot reading, but I would imagine horoscopes and tarot reading are both kind of attempts at predicting the future, and we're nowhere near predicting the future.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay, like a lot of times, some of us are better planners than others,
Yeah.
but nobody really knows how to predict the future. They're just basing it off of past events.
Yeah. Do you believe that sometimes with like tarot readings, you can like manifest what's gonna happen next?
Oh, like if you're told something?
Yeah.
Well,
Yo, man, you're gonna meet a redhead woman. Like, you're gonna have television. You know what I mean?
maybe. I mean, everything, I believe in cause and effect, and that one thing leads to another, which leads to another, and that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you do receive a tarot reading, it is going to have some effect. I don't know what that effect is, but everything has an effect.
It's so weird though, because it's not like they can give you a tarot reading for your whole life. Like horoscopes, it kind of already seems like they've got months and years in advance of what's going to happen.
I don't know. I mean, the astrology will tell you kind of like why people will do what they do. Like you and I, we might do the same thing, but for different reasons, right? In the very same situation, we might, like you and I are here together right now, right? And something might happen and we both might react the same way, but for different reasons,
I like that. All right.
right? And astrology will give you a guide as to the reasoning behind decisions.
But see, that's already something that's been kind of preset based on your sign. With tarot, it's like right then and there. Like,
Yeah, it's right then and there.
You know, do the shuffle, lay it down. You might make a giant like star or whatever by like interlaying cards. Flip it. I mean, it depends on the tarot reader. The reason I ask is because I got a good friend that kind of started bashing horoscopes and astrology. And then she tells me later on, like, yeah, I was doing some tarot readings, and I'm like, whoa, how are you going to put more weight on tarot, but just like completely bash astrology?
Right.
And she's like, well, because you might be born on a certain day, which means on a Tuesday, if you have your hair off a little bit, it's going to affect like your whole week. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, but I mean, wouldn't it be the same with tarot?
I'm not going to bash tarot because I don't really know about it, but I put a lot of thought into astrology, and I have some theories as to why or how there could be truth to it.
Yeah.
Okay, right? Because can we agree, Garcia, that the moon controls the tides?
Dude, man. Yeah,
Not completely, but it has a large effect on the
It
tides, right?
yeah, which means it could affect gravity somehow.
Well,
You know what I mean? It affects the water, man.
the ocean is a lot of water. Let's go step by step. An insane amount of water.
Yeah.
And the moon is pushing and pulling that water twice a day, every day, right?
Yeah. That's
Now-
physical force, man.
Aren't we 75 to 80% water?
Yeah, man.
So,
I'm with you, man.
so even though we might not have instruments that can detect the movement,
Yeah.
if it's moving all the water in the ocean,
Yeah.
why wouldn't it be moving the water within us as well
Yeah.
and sloshing it around, right?
Exactly. Like, and some people do act a lot differently during a full moon.
They do.
No, they do.
They do.
100%.
They do. They absolutely do. And the moon is just a large object.
Yeah.
And we know that large objects have, well, all objects have gravitational pull. Even this phone has pull. Not very much. We can't determine it,
Yeah.
but it is pulling. We know that, right? And so all the large objects in the sky are pulling and pushing, okay, and spinning,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so when you're born, your brain is not fully functioning.
Okay. Yeah, it's still developing. I mean,
Right.
Some people might say that not everybody still uses a certain percentage of their brain.
Right, but when you're born, it's not fully functioned. So the position of the large objects in the sky at that time could theoretically possibly be pushing and pulling on parts of our brain, causing them to develop or not develop,
Yeah.
right?
You know what, man? I gotta say, I didn't even thought about it that way. Yeah, man.
That's just a theory.
No, man. But it does make sense because you're right. Like, for instance, like your skull's not all the way. It's still squishy. I guess
It's still squishy. Yeah.
So it's very possible that, I mean, part of brain development and function is still, relying on gravity in some way.
Yeah.
Even forming a skull.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're a really interesting guy, Garcia. I'm glad I walked over here and met you.
Well, maybe it happened for a reason, man.
Well, one thing leads to another. I mean, I walk up and talk to every officer. I'd rather meet you now than on a traffic stop. You're not going to pull me over, but I film traffic stops or whatever your stop, and I like to conversate with you guys first so that I know who you are and you know that I'm not a threat, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I really don't do too many traffic stops, man. But
You don't?
and if I do, it's supposed to be a warning, man.
Really?
Well, yeah, because
You're not trying to escalate?
No, because here's the thing, man. Like,
You're not trying to get those drugs?
I mean, again, it depends on what the situation is.
Right.
You know what I mean? But more often than not, I've been doing this 10 years, man. Not just here, but
10 years.
yeah, I've been doing it 10 years, man. But 10 years this August. But
This August, all right.
I think traffic stops within themselves get like traumatic.
Yeah.
So like, why would I do anything that would like traumatize anybody? I'd much rather just say, hey, you know what? Messed up, pulled over. I got a warning. It wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? I won't do this again.
Assuming there was no human victim, right?
Yeah,
That's a real crime, right? You don't like let that go, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a little
A
bit
human
like-
victim.
like
You're not going to say, oh, well,
Yeah, no.
he's got a bloody nose, but he'll be all right.
No, yeah. You're just giving your like run of the mill like.
Right. We're talking about traffic infractions.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I ran a stop sign, but I didn't hit anybody.
Right.
I may have, you know what I mean, but at this point I didn't.
Right.
And I think that in itself should like kind of wake you up, like, oh shit, I better make a complete stop and pay attention to my surroundings.
Yeah.
You know, because I could hit somebody next time.
Yeah. Well, you don't know if you can.
Yeah.
It's like rolling the dice, but of course, only what can happen will happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking more the lines of like, yeah, I mean, there's always a 50-50 chance, right?
A 50-50 chance?
Yeah, there's always if there's somebody there, there's a chance. You know what I mean? They might get hit.
Wait a second, Garcia.
If I run a red light and there's somebody there, are they going to get hit?
Garcia, are you familiar with a standard deck of cards?
I'm thinking about Schrodinger's paradox, my man.
All right. Well, Schrodinger's paradox says that the cat can be thought of as alive or dead, but it does not say that the cat can be dead and alive at the same time. It is one or the other, but you can think of it as being dead or being alive, but not both at the same time. But it's not saying it is dead or it is alive. It is one or the other. You just don't know which one it is.
You know, man, and that's like, again, man, so it's either dead or you're not. So,
Yeah, there's no in between. Well, are you familiar with a standard deck of cards?
yes.
All right, 52 cards. Not the jokers are gone, you know. So the top card, Garcia.
So 52 cards, 52 weeks.
Yeah, but a deck of cards. This isn't a magic trick or anything, you know. But we're talking about possibilities, okay?
Fair enough.
So the top card, Garcia, it's your card, but I'm not going to show you what it is.
Okay.
But the other 51 cards, I'm going to throw them over there. Do not arrest me for littering, please.
Are you really going to do that right now?
50, the other 51
Okay.
cards, they're gone. There's only one card in my hand, and it's your card, but you don't know what it is. Can it be a king of diamonds?
Could be.
Can it be a jack of spades?
Could be.
Can it be an ace of hearts?
Yeah, could be. Officer Garcia, Sergeant instructed us that we have to go back to
The sergeant instructed to pick up a marked unit.
He wants the next one. The number will be open.
Virgo. We've met, right, Virgo?
Not to be confused.
No? All right. You do your
Not to
thing.
be confused. with-
Yeah, not a Virgo. That's good. I'm glad you made that distinction, too. Oh, they're on foot. Yeah. Well, maybe another day, another time. We got some others going on here. Oh, Bauzon. Sergeant, good to meet you again. Oh, yeah, fist bump. That's right. I was just talking about our pleasant conversation tonight that we had the other night.
During Ground Rally? That's
Yeah. You're a good sergeant to me, for sure.
I appreciate
I
that.
met a couple of your officers tonight. I think Sanchez,
Correct.
she is one of yours?
She is. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Well, her and Bradley were walking the road. I think it was right there, actually. And they had their lights on. And I came up as I do, and I stood, about this far from the window, waiting patiently for her to roll it down. And she would only roll it down this far, right? And now, I've seen how officers react to that when you pull somebody over and they only want to roll down their window that far, right? That's not cool. You know what I mean? And then she just has a really bad attitude, right? Like, she doesn't want to answer any questions. Not that you have to, but you don't want to look rude, right? You're not rude. You're very polite.
I appreciate that.
Right? You might not even agree with anything I say, but at least you're not rude about it, right?
Correct. And I can't speak for her.
Sure.
Obviously every individual has bad days on their own.
Sure. You think it's just a bad day? She's normally really nice, or what?
But
is she normally really nice with the people, with the public?
she is.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't publish until I have the whole story.
Right.
You're not going to see any of these videos for a long time because, I don't believe that one good experience or one bad experience is indicative of somebody.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Like somebody could be really cool, calm, and collected, but I just haven't rattled their cage yet, right? I haven't challenged them, and they're just floating through, and they don't care,
Correct.
right? And it might seem like, oh, they're really wonderful, but once you rattle their cage, then you find out, oh my goodness, they're actually a tyrant in disguise. Which actually we have one down there, not an officer, but the owner of is it Studio 6? Yeah, he believes that public photography from the sidewalk is not allowed in front of his club, and that he can kick me off. And he sent gang members outside to push me down the street, literally push me down the street.
Did that just happen this evening?
It did happen this evening, and I reported it to some other officers, and they went down and talked to him and tried to actually defend him and say that I was filming inside of his club, but from the sidewalk, and saying that I couldn't do that.
The officer said that?
Yeah, and of course, anything I can see, I can film, right?
Correct.
And as long as I don't go in his club, then he could kick me out.
That's
right?
my understanding.
Yeah,
Correct.
but it's still not a crime, but he could ask me to leave. If I refuse to leave, then that would be a crime of trespassing.
You were inside. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
But being out on the sidewalk, he says he owns it. I haven't checked the survey, but even if he does, it's still a public right of way.
It's a public, yes.
In First Amendment activities are allowed there, right?
Correct.
All right. Yeah.
absolutely.
And I forgot all their names too, but I think it was right here in this. I should look, but I don't know. You seem like a good guy. You guys probably talk about these things a lot. First Amendment, isn't it a touchy thing? You guys are trying to stay on the right side of the law, I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely.
At first, I had a lot of really good experiences with APD, but the last couple of days, things have been progressing and getting a little bit more touchy, right? I've been threatened with interfering when they've admitted later that you didn't interfere yet, but we wanted to make sure that you weren't going to interfere. So we gave you an order to move, right? Which isn't lawful because I hadn't broken the law yet.
Correct.
Right? You see somebody standing on the corner and you're like, I think he's going to walk without waiting for the light. And so you go over there and you tell him to move back. Right? Well, he hasn't broken the law. Right? So that's not a lawful order.
Correct. I guess you could say if you thought he was going to cross against the line, I guess you could kind of warn him and say, hey, maybe I saw you make a step in the direction, but please wait.
No, you can say what you want,
Correct.
but not give orders like you need to step back 5 feet. You know what I mean? Yeah, I guess I could theoretically jump you right now, right? But just because it's theoretically possible doesn't mean that you have any reason to believe that I'm going to.
Exactly.
Right? Any actual reasonable articulable suspicion.
Correct.
There's hundreds of people walking by. Any one of them could theoretically do something to you, and that's the risk you take.
Sure.
Right? And if you have somebody pulled over, well, there's people walking by, there's cars going by. Somebody could just veer over with their car and hit you if they want.
Absolutely.
Maybe. But that doesn't mean you get to just shut off the street, right? I mean, for a traffic infraction. You know what I mean? If it's a felony stop, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, I mean, I was kind of explaining it that my personal idea is that if I'm walking up to your stop and you tell me to stop, I'm going to.
Right.
But then I'm going to want to know why you told me to stop and whether or not this is closed, right? And if I see you let other people go through, then I'm going to feel like deprived of my rights because...
Sure, because that would be an issue.
Yeah, because
Unfair treatment.
if they can walk through, then I can stop too, right? If you're free to go through, you're free to stop. You're free to assemble, to
Correct.
press on, to press down on the road, you know? And so I've gotten that some where like officers will let a whole bunch of people come through, but they'll tell me I have to stay over there, right? And
Did
that's...
you address that with the officers in that squad?
I did. I mean, this has happened a number of times. I'm not asking. I don't even remember their names. I'm not really trying to get you a response. The only one I talking to you specifically about was Sanchez. But this is more so that we understand each other,
Sure.
and that I know what I can expect from you. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
like one sergeant, I might not know what he's going to say, what his stance is. You know,
Right.
but I'm getting the impression that your stance is that I am. If anybody else is free to walk through, I'm free to walk through and stop. But I'm not free to block traffic either,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
So, like, you know, there are some lines. I can't do what you do. Yeah. All right. No. See, wait. Is C's? Is that a name? C's or
Is it an officer?
yeah, C's.
There's a Spees.
Spees.
Okay.
He's yours.
No.
All right.
He's I'm not positive, but I want to say he's on the
George. That's right. Oh, not Brooks. I think he said Brooks. Now that it
so
comes
it's
to
a
me, yeah,
George
Brooks.
300. Yeah.
Brooks is cool.
He's
Bro,
a very nice guy.
He
Great
did.
sergeant.
He did concede some points one night. You know, he conceded that Austin PD is not in the business of blocking cameras.
Right.
Right. So that game of blocking, that is an impediment. And when we're talking about interference, that's what's required to interfere with you. Right. If you needed to get to this spot and I wouldn't move for you, that's an impediment. That's interfering.
Correct.
But if I'm even this close and you have no reason to get here, I'm not interfering.
Right. Or vice versa. If we're handling someone here and then you come into the area and like put the camera in our face to where we can't.
You can't, yeah.
Then that would
But
be interference.
I never do that.
Right.
I would be there if you were doing something here. I mean, the road's closed right now, but
Correct.
you know, each circumstance is a little different,
Right.
right? And a felony stop is much different.
Much more dangerous.
Yeah,
We
and a
probably
crime
need more space
scene
for that, right.
is definitely different.
Right.
But the only time a crime scene, if it's a crime scene, you can use crime scene tape.
Yes.
But a traffic infraction, you don't get to bust out the crime scene tape and start shutting down sidewalks,
Right.
right?
Exactly. not normally.
Right, not normally. Yeah. Thank you, Sergeant.
Yes,
Oh, fist. Oh, you're gonna shake.
You know.
You were gonna do it.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
night.
You too. Thank you, Sergeant. Yeah. All right. Press on. Right. Press on.
Master by the name of Bates, smoking more than all 50 states combined. Yeah, right, I gotta stay on the grind. I got no money, so my weed's on my mind. I hit the club, but you know I can't dance. 7 and 7 in my cutoff chance. Tie that shirt in my long ass hair. What part of how I look makes you think I care?